You're listening to the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, right here on LA Talk Radio.
My guest all this hour is returning to the show. He's a wonderfully talented actor, and I'm so glad to see him face to face again. The wonderful Larry Cedar is here. So you came here to talk about a film.
Yes, She Sings to the Stars, written
beautiful.
And directed by Jennifer Corcoran, produced by her brother Jonathan Corcoran, and also starring Jesus Mayorga and Fanny Lucero. And we shot it out in the deserts of New Mexico a while back, over at a place called Cabazon, which is, it looks like the mountain from Close Encounters of a Third Kind, this big mountain. Yeah. And it's just an amazing, amazing, simple little story, a 3-character movie, mystical, magical. Most of it takes place literally under the stars. It's just the simplest, most beautiful film, and I hope people will discover it. I'm like a failed magician, a guy named Lyle, and I'm on my last journey to the last gig at some shopping mall in the middle of New Mexico, down to my last $20, and I basically commit a petty crime, and then I take off, try to get there. My car breaks down in the middle of this. I think it's not quite an Indian reservation, but this woman, her name is Mabel, lives in this house by herself, and she's a grandmother. And my car breaks down there, and I discover her. She discovers me and asks if she can help me, in the course of which I meet her grandson, who happens to be the guy I just robbed. And I'm trying to get out of there and get some water from my car, and I end up being stuck there for a few days. And it's kind of like a transformation in terms of my view of the world. I'm a very impatient, angry guy, and I come to discover this whole new way of looking at things through her. She kind of heals me, at the same time healing her grandson, who's also in a lot of pain for various reasons.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And is the desert almost like another character in it, Larry?
Totally. The soundscape, the visuals. I mean, we were shooting one night. We shot all night in about 20 degrees, and we were shooting a rainstorm. It was really a rough night, but we got through it about 3, 4 in the morning. I looked up and I said, I've never seen stars that low on the horizon. It was so dark that the stars went all the way down to the horizon. It was just incredible. It's a little frightening too, because there's nothing out there, but boy, the power of nature, it just kind of sweeps over you, you know. Lyle is an overthinker.
Okay.
Lyle never shuts up his own brain. Lyle's always thinking what's wrong, what's right, what he did, what you did, and he's just he's like we are here in LA. You know, he's just constantly working it. And he comes to this place where exactly what you said is true. There's nothing. There's nothing to bounce his ideas off of. There's no one to fight with. There's no way to win or lose. You have to succumb. You have to give in to this environment, which Mabel, this woman, realizes. She's lived there like almost her whole life. She'll just sit on her porch for hours at a time and just listen. And it drives him crazy. He goes out of his mind for the first few days. And then what happens, which is what would happen to all of us, is inevitably he has to yield to the force of nature. And he starts to see things and hear things and find a Lyle, a part of himself that he had lost so long ago, because it was so buried under all of this dreck that you kind of, these layers of thought and ideas and struggle that you put on yourself when you live in like a metropolitan environment.
Sure.
And it's all gone. His phone stops working. His car won't work. Nothing that he does works. His magic stuff has fallen apart, and he has to discover this whole new world, and which ultimately saves him. You know, and she's a nightmare to him initially, because he'll say things and do things, and she just stares at him like, you know, but she gets it. It's a beautiful film. Beautiful film. I think it's going to be at the Queen's International Film Festival in March, and it's already won some awards at Vancouver Independent Film Festival. It won I think it won Best Feature at the Independent. So it's doing really well.